because demonic manifestations are on the rise, quadrupling in the United States alone.
It's pretty horrific.
A harrowing battle between good and evil that's beyond surreal.
In the middle of a crazy exorcism, dramatic stuff is going on, and the demon will pause and just turn and stop everything.
Well, Julie, it certainly is a creepy place. At this time of year, Blue Ash is swirling with rumors about Satan's Hollow. Oh, this is a picture of the entrance. You can see it's really just a storm drain with some graffiti on it, but it's what people think happened inside there that has them talking.
First time I went to Satan's Hollow, me and my brother-in-law Ray, we went looking for it.
And just 4 years ago, he says he found it here, nestled deep in the woods in Blue Ash. The decrepit storm drain has a rich history, an urban legend of sorts.
It was a creepy place. Took a couple steps inside and our imagination playing tricks on us. It's dark, there's echoes coming out of there. We didn't want to go any further. Don't know what's in there.
Perhaps it's because Fenbers knows the legend, knows what supposedly happened inside decades ago.
Some time ago, Satanists used it as their meeting place. They would hold masses, have sacrifices there.
The narrow tunnels stretch several football fields, best illustrated by this hand-drawn map.
There is supposedly at the end of one of the tunnels an altar room, supposedly where the Satanists actually had their sacrifices.
Satanic graffiti is scrawled on the walls. Blue Ash police say they are always chasing off teens that find a way to get to it. But if you're a true believer, it isn't just the cops keeping visitors away.
And allegedly they managed to actually open the door to hell and summon a demon that I guess hangs out there now and protects it for them.
With paranormal activity, do ghosts really exist? Are we alone? Is there life after death?
In the 1930s, this was the home of William Goodburn. Some suspect he ran a moonshine out of a mine out behind his house. That earned him the nickname Whiskey Bill. Today, though, that home looks nothing like it did. But even though the walls no longer exist here, something else does.
How haunted is this spot?
Oh, on 1 to 10, it's about 11.
Bill's body rests at this gravesite about 100 yards away from the home.
There was a black shadow figure, like part of his lower legs appeared to be actually underground. He's got a cowboy hat on, just holding his right arm up a little bit. It's almost like he has a bird on it.
Another image shows crosses.
Obviously there's no crosses here.
But they appeared right when this picture was taken. Pete describes an encounter when he left a voice recorder out overnight.
There's a message that wasn't very nice.
What was that message?
It was die, Pete, 3 times.
And that same message was also written with pebbles above the grave. Now, all of this happened at night, so the odds of us experiencing something were pretty low.
On this little digital point and shoot. Is that over?
That is the sound of metal clashing against metal, coming from the house below. And if you listen carefully, you can hear what sounds to be a man with a deep voice grumbling.
No more Seth.
No more Seth.
Seth.
Another electronic voice phenomenon, or EVP, message was left. This came from the grave. And there's something else that happens here too.
What's that? It like dropped out of her back.
A rock.
Rocks. They say it's a way for the ghosts to show their presence.
I felt it. I'm scared.
So if all of this happened to us during the day, what will happen at night? We'll have that tomorrow. Covering the story,
training priests and participating internationally in well over 100 solemn exorcisms.
It's so far beyond a serial killer or a murderer. They're 100% evil.
Those who know Battaglia well say he is not crazy, but cunning and evil. No one knows him better than his ex-wife, Mary Jean Pearl. During his trial, she testified that in May of 2001, Battaglia shot his daughters 6 times each as she listened on the phone.
And then I hear Faith going, "No, Daddy, please, Daddy, don't do it. Daddy, please don't do it." Pow, pow. And I hear him yell, "Merry Christmas!"
We tried to ask Battaglia about that night.
But the crime that you're being executed for is the deaths of your daughters. Do you remember anything about that?
Yeah, I know, but they caused it. They caused Faith and Liberty to die. I didn't do it. Why would I want to kill them?
He blames a list of people who he calls demons for his conviction in the murders of his 2 little girls, 6-year-old Liberty and 9-year-old Faith.
You can see that there's a problem here, and it has to go. It goes back to the people I think, or these spirits who invade this place and seem to be in these positions of authority or corruption.
Found and fought in nearly every major religion.
The church figured out that there are some concrete signs of possession.
Starting with supernatural strength.
This teenager says she's been to hell and back. She says, watch the devil twisting her arm.
Cut my arm off. Just cut it off. It hurts.
On the tapes, you can hear my bones cracking. I felt like someone was just ripping my arm off.
Can you get up?
Forcing her to faint.
Oh, my God.
I just wanted to destroy every part of my life.
Inhabiting her body.
I was basically possessed by a demonic spirit that wanted to control my life and destroy it.
It's often difficult to determine when the psychological and psychiatric ends and the paranormal begins. We decided pretty early on that this seems to be maybe a haunted person. She's haunted by something that is harassing her, oppressing her, influencing her behavior, and it is something that we believe is associated with the devil.
The devil is very real, and he is here. He is not out there. He is right here.
Now remember, she has a master's degree in nursing, and Dr. Klimek is an eminent physician with dozens of scientific papers on medical subjects to his credit. So what's going on?
I'm a scientist, and I know that science can provide a great deal for us and can provide a lot of explanations. But in my 25 years of being a doctor, I've seen things and experienced things that you can't explain with science.
Well, right now, just south of the Arizona border, police in Mexico are investigating a cult suspected in 3 cases of ritual human sacrifice. The cult's leader and 7 of her relatives are accused of killing 2 children and a 55-year-old woman, offering their blood to La Santa Muerte, the Saint Death. We wanted to learn more about this. It really caught our attention. And Andrew Chestnut is a professor of religious studies at Virginia Commonwealth University. He just recently published a book on La Santa Muerte. Dr. Chestnut, what is this cult all about?
This cult basically is about the worship of Santa Muerte, Saint Death, who is a Mexican folk saint and basically personifies death. If you look at her, in fact, I have a votive candle of her. You see that she is the female image of the Grim Reaper. In fact, in my book, I call her the Grim Reaperess. In the last 10 years, her cult has mushroomed. We're probably looking at 10 million devotees now on both sides of the border.
Interesting. You know, what about, you said in the last 10 years it's really mushroomed, and obviously the violence at the border has certainly gotten a lot more attention with the power of the drug cartels. Is there a connection between the rise of power of some of these drug cartels and the drug violence and the rise of well, I don't want to say followers, I don't know really what to call them, devotees of this cult?
Yeah, devotees is a good, yeah, definite connection. In fact, that's what prompted me to start the research for my book, is that in 2009, President Calderon in Mexico sent in the Mexican army with backhoes, bulldozers, and bulldozed over 40 Santa Muerte shrines on the U.S.-Mexican border, mostly across from Texas and California. So she's been identified by the Mexican government as religious enemy #1. And this is because, yes, she is the patroness of many in the Mexican drug cartels.
This skeletal maiden with the empty eyes is a saint for sinners. She goes by several names.
I call her the Grim Reaperess.
Officially, she's Santa Muerte, Saint Death. She's also known as the Bony Lady, and her popularity is exploding.
She has millions of followers, devotees, both in the U.S. and in Mexico.
And many of those devotees are among the most violent criminals in the world.
She is the premier narco saint.
Dr. Andrew Chestnut is a religious studies professor at VCU. He literally wrote the book on Santa Muerte, Devoted to Death.
A lot of cartel members in Mexico count among the ranks of her devotees.
Santa Muerte is nothing new to those who battle drug lords and traffickers.
Throughout a number of years, most DEA field divisions have at one time or another been involved with the Santa Muerte, the statutes and the rituals that relate to that.
If you are a cartel member, you can ask her that load of methamphetamines being shipped to D.C., Atlanta, or here close to home in Richmond make safe passage.
So how prevalent is the devotion to death right here in Richmond? We found candles that can be burned in worship to the death saint in Latino markets all across the metro area. And store owners tell us these things are big sellers.
How popular are the Santa Muerte candles and the dolls?
Well, they're really popular. We sell them a lot. Like in a week, I'll set up like about 30, 40 candles.
The candles are often used to set up shrines. That's the sound of a man being tortured. His abusers laugh at the adrenaline high it gives them. This was captured on a federal wiretap. Agents were working to bust a Mexican-based fake ID cartel that had strong ties to Richmond. A conference call was set up with cartel members to make an example out of one of their own caught stealing. The gang's leader says, "Now it's a torture, buddy."
He was restrained, he was duct taped, doused in water, and then had jumper cables attached to his chest.
Inside the home where the man was tortured is this shrine to Santa Muerte.
Two men from El Salvador who are also alleged MS-13 gang members were accused of the satanic killing of a 15-year-old Houston teen and kidnapping two other teens. The suspects, believed to be illegal immigrants, even smiled and waved at the courtroom TV camera in their first court appearance.
Authorities say the gang members executed one teenage girl and brutally assaulted two others in court. As you mentioned, they seem to not really be taking the charges seriously. Police say they are Miguel Alvarez Flores and Diego Hernandez Rivera, both MS-13 gang members from El Salvador. They're accused of kidnapping three teenage girls, feeding them drugs and alcohol, and then raping them for weeks inside of a Houston apartment. One of the surviving victims says her 15-year-old friend knocked over a satanic shrine, and as a result, she disappeared a short time later. Authorities say they found her body on the side of the road and that she'd been shot in the head and the chest. The gang members have been charged with aggravated kidnapping.
Whether you believe or not, approve or not, there's no denying that the worship of Saint Death is on the rise. A shrine to her in Mexico City draws hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. And those who worship her say she's not to be messed with. If you